they're going to first show the long cartwheel. So that's for alignment, but then we're going to start doing a fast cartwheel. Okay, and so when they do that fast cartwheel, what they're going to do to make it faster is they're going to make it shorter. If your feet don't have to go as far over your head, then you can go faster. If you're doing a long cartwheel, it's going to rotate slower because it's like this big long rainbow that the feet have to follow. There's less distance if we're having a shorter cartwheel, which means the feet can go over faster. So the way that we're doing that is we're asking their first hand to drop very close to their foot. And it's okay if that arm drops a little bit away from the ears for that arm drop. And then the second way is they're trying to snap their foot in. So their first foot is going to do that super scoop pike almost to step in and stand up the cartwheel. So go ahead and press play. You'll see the long alignment ones, and then they're going to show the short fast. And you see the difference in the turnover. So that's the speed we need to create for your Chenkos. I'm going to show it again through the mountain climber. And the mountain climber also helps with the speed. They're pushing through their legs, they're dropping their arms, and they're piking down. Same thing, we're doing mountain climb, and the reason we're doing it in the backward roll is because they can overemphasize that super scoop shape. And what you'll notice about all these drills is they can feel the mountain climb with the block. Even those hand mats are skinny, so they can have their hands in a nice alignment position. Go ahead and pause it, please, Jenna. Actually, if you can just go back a little bit so we can see that setup, 5 or 10 seconds is fine. Maybe a little further back. Keep going, keep going. Right there. Perfect. All right, so one thing I'm going to mention that you'll see throughout this is we want to do as much as we can to set up drills that give natural feedback. So in this case, the round-off sometimes go crooked if you reach your second hand across on the round-off. But the drill before this and this drill, there's a thin mat or a little beam line. So they're going to feel if their hand misses that, and they're going to know they're out of alignment. So I don't even need to tell them as a coach because they're going to feel it. Same with the block being there. They're going to feel their knee touch the block so that they mountain climb going into it. If they don't feel it, then they know that they didn't do it. It gives them natural feedback. Later on, we're going to show doing a round-off onto a panel mat and punching from a panel mat. If they turn over on the panel mat, that punch, if it's on a spring floor, will feel really good. If they turn over onto a panel mat and the punch, they're turning in short, then they're going to feel, ooh, that was a little hard. I'm on a panel mat. But that's going to tell them they didn't scoop and turn over enough. Okay, so the next thing that you're going to see here, we're not going to press play yet, but the next thing that we're going to see is we're going to see the whip open concept. So there's two things that the super scoop helps with. The first thing it helps with is the turn over the round off. Like we said, going long to short increases the speed. The second thing that happens is we're now in a shape that we can really pop out of and pop our hip upwards by pushing through our toes and popping our hip upwards and then reaching our arms backwards. So that's the whip open part. Go ahead and press play. And in this video and in the next video, we're going to see different ways to help them feel that whip open, because I really like them to feel their gymnastics. So she's reaching back. Notice she's pushing through her toes. So they're feeling the pull of the scoop and the whip open, push through the toes. Here she's going to whip press and press the hips. Okay, Jenna, we can pull the next video up, but we won't press play yet. Just something to talk about here. When an athlete is first learning a back handspring, now you may not be the one teaching them, so we'll talk about that in a second. But when an athlete is first learning a back handspring, I think it's really important that they learn that that's coming through pushing through their legs and getting their hip up. A lot of little ones learn their back handspring throwing their arms back really hard. What happens to gymnasts who learn that when they're little and they're doing their first year Chenko? Their knees usually bend on the board or whatever your Chenko experience. We'll talk about that later. But they usually don't use their legs. Instead, they throw their arms back and they kind of crunch onto whatever surface they're doing it on. So as we're talking about that, pushing the toes and getting the hip up for the whip, we want to remember that we teach back handsprings that way. Okay, here's a couple more. Go ahead and press play, please. This should be video, I believe, video number 3? 4. Thank you. Video number 4. All right. She's going to, here we're just another way to feel that pike whip open. Okay, so that the backward roll is just there to simulate what they would feel at the end of the round off and into the back handspring. Can we go back a couple frames and show that again? Yep, that's fine. We can start from there. Feeling the whip open through the toes, doing it from a handstand, pike, whip open, backward roll seat drop. So we feel the scoop shape, and then we should feel the scoop, watch for the scoop, and into the back handspring. Okay, and on this one, she's going to jump